Our opening words are by the Reverend Erica Hewitt. Put away the pressures of the world. As we enter into worship, put away the pressures of the world that ask us to perform, to take up masks, to put on brave fronts. Silence the voices that ask you to be perfect. This is a community of compassion and welcome. You do not have to do anything to earn the love contained here. You do not have to be braver or smarter or stronger, better than you are in this moment to belong here. You only have to bring the gift of your body, no matter how able, your seeking mind, no matter how busy, your animal heart, no matter how broken. Bring all that you are and all that you love to this hour. Welcome to worship this morning. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join in our gathering hymn, What Wondrous Love, number 18.
Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Diego, where we worship each Sunday in the South Bay, here in Hillcrest, and online.
Buenos días y bienvenidos a la primera Iglesia Universalista de San Diego, donde adoramos cada domingo en South Bay, en Hillcrest y en línea.
My name is Marge Wergel, and I use the pronouns she and her. A special welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. Please fill out the welcome card in your order of service.
Me llamo Tomás Acosta y uso el pronombre él. Una bienvenida muy especial a todos los que están con nosotros por primera vez. Les extendemos la invitación de rellenar el formulario en el orden de servicio.
Our community is a vital, diverse, multi-generational congregation without borders, with a mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values to help heal the world.
Somos una congregación compuesta de personas de distintas identidades racializadas y culturas, personas de diversas orientaciones sexuales e identidades de género, personas de varias habilidades mentales y físicas.
We are creators of community and compassion. And though we can fall short, we're committed to practicing an affirming welcome to all.
Con espíritu de reverencia reconocemos que nos juntamos esta mañana en la tierra de los Kumeyaay, quienes continúan viviendo en todo su territorio. Al emprender este viaje juntos, mantengamos en nuestros corazones y mentes al pueblo Kumeyaay.
In the spirit of reverence, we acknowledge that we gather this morning on the land of the Kumeyaay, who continue to live throughout their territories. May the light of this candle shine for our commitment to the Kumeyaay people and to justice and equity for Indigenous people everywhere.
I invite you to rise again in body or spirit and join in our church hymn and aspiration that we do in both English and Spanish. Of this church, may the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. Que el amor sea la doctrina de esta iglesia, la búsqueda de la verdad su sacramento y el servicio su oración. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con libertad y ayudarnos mutuamente en comunidad. A eso aspiramos. Please be seated. So I have a few announcements this morning. So we have been experimenting with multi-generational Sundays down at South Bay, where we invite our entire religious education program to head down and worship together down at the South Bay campus. And this Sunday is one of those Sundays. So I wanted to let our families know that if you've got children or youth, we don't have religious education today, but we do have childcare available in 113. Welcome to go. Also, just know children and youth are always welcome in worship. So please make the best choice for you and your family. This morning, we have a special guest who is worshiping with us, Dr. Elias Ortega, president of Meadville Lombard Theological School. Wonderful. We're so glad that you're worshiping with us. Meadville Lombard is one of our 2 Unitarian Universalist seminaries, and Dr. Elias will be available after service to connect with on the patio if you'd like to say hello. Lay ministers are available after the service to offer a listening presence. If you have a joy or a sorrow that you want to share this morning's lay minister is Les Vivian. We also, Dining for Dollars, which is our community building auction, the bidding has begun for this important event. Everything is online, so you can go to our website, firstuusandiego.org, and look for Dining for Dollars under the Giving tab. Now, maybe you might need some help, so I want to invite you to look for some bidding experts after worship at the Dining for Dollars table in Bard Hall. They'll have devices, and they can help you get connected to these fabulous events and services. And finally, I want to invite you to join us for an Interfaith Thanksgiving Eve worship service at St. John's Episcopal Church in Chula Vista. It's this Wednesday, November 27th. It starts at 7 p.m. After the worship service, there'll be a dessert potluck, so you can bring things for that. One of the things that's really exciting is that this is the church that we are potentially moving our South Bay campus and our South Bay food pantry to. So if you want to come and build connections, if you'd like to meet that community and worship together, this is a great opportunity. We hope you'll join us there.
One way we live our values is by sharing our offering each week with a local organization working for justice. Throughout the month of November, our offering is being received in support of Indigenous Regeneration. This nonprofit focuses on traditional and contemporary food cultivation, environmental awareness, traditional plant education, Indigenous survival skills, healthy expression through music, art, and culture, and sustainable building techniques. All of their program is designed from an Indigenous view, overseen by elders on their board. You may donate this morning here in person by credit card using the dip jars, or by cash or check using the donation boxes. If you'd like assistance, please raise your hand. You may also donate online on our church's website, firstuusandiego.org. Thank you for your generosity. This morning's offering will now be gratefully received.
We pause at this time in our service to honor the life and memory of Susan Regal Harding. Susan was a longtime church member, a beloved family member and friend, and she died suddenly on Tuesday, November 19th. We have Tanya, her daughter, and Tanya's wife, Vero, with us this morning, and we're just sending all our love and care to you. Susan was a caring and passionate person. She was deeply committed to fostering community. When I spoke with some family and friends, they said, oh, I have to tell the Bridge Club and the Dining Club and the Wisdom Circle, right? Susan was deeply embedded in the life of this church, but also deeply embedded of the life of our community. And she was a fierce advocate for democracy. I remember when I came back, she said, I'm so glad you're here because you know how to get stuff done. Susan cared about getting stuff done. She loved music and art and cooking and bridge, and she loved most connecting with her family and friends. I know that so many of you are hurting this morning, and we just send our love and our care to everyone who is grieving. And so this morning, we light the candle in Susan's honor and memory. And to mark the weightiness of her loss, we extinguish the flame of our chalice, the symbol of our gathered community, because our company has truly been diminished by her loss. Yet the light of this community continues, and Susan's spirit lives on in the many among us who love her and remember her and will tell her story. So from her candle, we relight our chalice. This community of memory and hope shines on, and Susan lives among us in the heart's long memory. In mystery we are born. In mystery we live, and in mystery we die. Blessed be. Let us rest together in a time of meditation. I invite you, if you're open, to find the most comfortable seated position for your body this morning. And if it feels right for you, to close your eyes. This morning, I'll lead us in a practice from the Zen Buddhist tradition called counting the breath. On the in-breath, we'll count 1. On the out-breath, 2. On the in-breath, 3. On the out-breath, 4, until we get to 10. And then we'll go back to 1. If you find yourself daydreaming or making a to-do list, or all of a sudden you're on 55, gently just return yourself to 1. So let us begin. Breathing in, 1. Breathing out, 2. Breathing in, 3. Breathing out, 4. Breathing in, 5. Breathing out, 6. Breathing in, 7. Breathing out, 8. Breathing in, 9. Breathing out, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Continuing at your own pace. No need for perfection. Anytime you're lost, just gently return to 1 and keep counting and watching the breath. Coming to the end of your practice, may we together find moments of spaciousness, moments to rest and have us be held by the breath, by the body, by the great spirit of life and love. Blessed be.
For a reading this morning, we have some excerpts from Broken Buddha by Reverend Meg Barnhouse. Broken Buddha is the title of a photograph in my online art collection. It shows the lap of a painted statue. One graceful hand has broken off and is resting on the sole of an upturned foot. I'm trying to figure out why I'm so drawn to this image. The enlightened one as imperfect, cracked, and chipped. Maybe that is how my enlightenment feels. A piece or two might have gotten knocked off. The broken Buddha says, I don't have to be scared of being the way I am. The broken Buddha tells me that sometimes agony is appropriate. The broken Buddha tells me that life is not neat. Life is gorgeous and horrific beyond understanding. We may create certain situations, but other suffering strikes like a tiger from the tall grass, snatching us from one life into another without cause or warning. I meditate on the broken hand of the Buddha, and it comforts me. It tells me that spirit moves in and through the cracks and gaps, and that it is wild and doesn't make sense. It sits with you through something that can't be fixed by intelligence or kindness or love. Curious about the statue, I learned that his hand is in the Karana Mudra, the shape used for warding off demons. One of the online comments under the photo reads, "The enlightened one is still whole." Maybe you can be enlightened and broken too. Sometimes I feel like I understand so much that I can be a lot of help to people. Other times my mind is blank and there is nothing in my mind or heart to say, but I'm so sorry. I want to reach out, but my hand is lying in my lap, still in a shape of warding off demons of fear and illness, financial terrors and loss, and I can't do anything with it. The broken Buddha says he knows how I feel. Our hearts beat together for a time, and we are both strengthened.
They sang at the break of day. Start again, I heard them say. Don't dwell on what has passed away or what is yet to be. Again, the holy dove, she will be caught again, bought and sold and bought again. The dove is never free. Still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. We asked for signs, the signs were sent. The birth betrayed, the marriage spent. Oh, the widowhood of every government. Signs for all all to see. And I can't run no more with that lawless crowd, while the killers in high places say their prayers out loud. But they've summoned up a thundercloud. They're gonna hear from me. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. You can add up the parts, you won't have the sum. You can strike up the march, there is no drum. To every heart love will come, but like a refugee, ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in.
Thank you for that beautiful offering. A few years ago, I was searching for a statue of Jizo, who's the bodhisattva known as Earth Bearer. Now, I first connected with Jizo when I lived at the Sweetwater Zen Center in National City. Outside the door of the kitchen was this simple stone statue of a monk holding a tiny baby. There was something so tender and comforting about it. Jizo is the bodhisattva who accompanies people in times of suffering. He's known as the protector of travelers, children, women, and lost souls. Throughout Japan, you may see Jizo peeking out among the grasses along the road, standing at intersections, overseeing borders. He's found at boundaries, these places between the physical and the spiritual, between here and there, between life and death. Families place Jizo in their garden or at the cemetery, often to honor the death of a child, especially to miscarriage or to stillbirth, and to ask that Jizo care for their beloveds. Now, there are many different images of Jizo. You've seen some of this morning in our slides. Sometimes he's a grown monk holding a baby, or sometimes he's this childlike monk with his hands in gasho, wearing a bib. Sometimes, like in this picture, he stands tall, with a staff in his right hand. The staff has 6 rings, and they jingle as he walks. That's so it announces his presence, and he doesn't harm any living being. In the left hand, he holds the Dharma jewel. With the staff, he forces open the gates of hell and ensures that every single being is saved. With the jewel, he brings light to places of suffering. Now, this version that you see on the screen was the version of Jizo that I was looking for as a gift for my husband, Joshua. I searched for months and months, going to local stores, and finally I found it. On the morning of his birthday, he opened the package, and Jizo's staff was broken in half and dangling. I was so upset. How could Jizo force open the gates of hell with a broken staff? And we wondered together, what do you do with a broken Buddha? If it had been just about anything else, I think we would have packed it up and marked damaged on the package and sent it back to where it came from. But it felt too sacred. So we patched up the staff the best we could with some super glue, and we placed Jizo in the garden. Now, I brought Jizo with me. He's been weathered by some years. You can see that staff did not hold up. But every day, Jizo greets me in the garden, and I am reminded that we are all broken Buddhas, beautifully imperfect in some way, messy, chipped, cracked, patched up, struggling with illness and despair, anxiety and fear, loss and longing, hopelessness, frustration, confusion and anger. We are waging battles that others may never see, and we are facing challenging days or years. In our reading this morning, Reverend Meg Barnhouse, who is a Unitarian Universalist minister, writes, "The broken Buddha says, I don't have to be scared of being the way I am. The broken Buddha tells me that sometimes agony is appropriate. The broken Buddha tells me that life is not neat. I meditate on the hand of the broken Buddha and it comforts me. It tells me that the spirit moves in and through the cracks and the gaps and that it's wild and that it doesn't make sense. It sits with you through something that can't be fixed by intelligence or kindness or love." Have you ever had to sit through something that can't be fixed? I know I have. So since our time living at the Zen Center, Jizo has been this important part of my spiritual life. According to the teachings in Mahayana Buddhism, Jizo could have chosen to make the ultimate transition, which is to a Buddha, and that would end the cycle of rebirth, and in the Buddhist tradition would end the cycle of suffering for Jizo. He had reached the insight of an awakened being, but he chose to continue to come back and to help others on their journey. I think of Jizo as this physical embodiment that we are all connected, that our fates are bound up with one another, that none of us are free until all of us are free. Jizo stays here on earth, chooses to stay here, accompanying all beings, especially in their moments of deepest suffering. So what can we learn from Jizo? How do we make spaces in our lives for the places inside that are tender and vulnerable? The wounds and the scars, the overwhelming emotions, the echoes of trauma, our hearts that cannot bear one more tragedy. How do we accompany ourselves and one another through times of suffering? One of the ways that I've learned to be with suffering is through the practice of meditation. In Zen Buddhism, meditation is the act of counting or watching the breath coming in and the breath going out, breathing in and breathing out. It may seem like a simple practice, but it's not easy. When we stop and focus on the breath, thoughts start flying through our minds. We might become aware of painful emotions and physical discomfort. The practice of meditation asks us to be with what is, to come back gently and compassionately, but with discipline, over and over again to the breath, to this moment, to life how it is, right here, right now. So sometimes I think that there might be a misconception about meditation, that it instantaneously helps us feel more peaceful and at ease. My experience is that often before peace, we have to experience the discomfort and unease. Through meditation, we learn how to be intimate with our discomfort and our pain, to pay attention to what's happening in our physical body, to bear witness to suffering, ours and others. Now, spiritual community like this one reminds us that we don't have to move through this alone. We can embody Jesus' spirit by being willing to accompany each other. Our churches can be places where we listen deeply, where we breathe and sing and pray and practice together, where we bear witness to the pain of life, and we offer our loving presence. But I also think of meditation as a kind of training. It's a training so that we can more fully engage with the world, off the cushion, outside of the sanctuary on Sunday morning. As we build the capacity to be with our own pain, we can show up and be with other people's pain and not turn away. I think it is one of those times when we are called as a people of faith not to turn away, to show up for one another, and especially for those beings who are being targeted by hate and injustice, to be in solidarity with immigrants facing threats of deportation, to be there for transgender people being bombarded by a campaign of hate from our most powerful elected officials, to be with women and people with uteruses being stripped of their rights to their very own bodies, to make decisions about what is right and healthy, to be with people of color and LGBTQ people who are fearful of violence and of losing the rights that have been so hard won by our movements for justice. My friends, I believe that we have been promised hell realms from those who will soon be in power. Let us, as Unitarian Universalists, create a sanctuary of welcome for all those who are impacted by these systems of injustice and these campaigns of hate. Let us lean into partnership with those who share our values of love and interconnectedness, justice and equity, and let us prepare to go into those hell realms, ensuring that everyone is saved and everyone is free. Jesus accompanies those who are most vulnerable through the terrain of suffering. And I believe that his very presence says, I will not abandon you, because we belong to one another. We will need to embody this kind of accompaniment, this kind of care, this kind of solidarity in the coming time. To hold one another's hand in mutual care and to disrupt systems of oppression that target our beloveds. How will we show up for one another? How do you want to show up in this time? Broken Buddhas, imperfect, cracked, chipped, also whole. Reverend Meg Barnhouse shared in our reading that under the picture of the broken Buddha that she was so drawn into, someone wrote this comment: "The enlightened one is still whole." This is one of the fundamental teachings of Buddhism, that brokenness and wholeness exist simultaneously in every single being. The relative and the absolute, the form and no form, just as we are a little bit broken, we are also fundamentally whole. Like the Buddha, we carry some wisdom in our hearts, our minds, and our bodies. Like the Buddha, we have the capacity to harness great compassion. There is something inside of you that is unbreakable. I believe that this truth is also uncovered through spiritual practice, Through contemplative practices like meditation, we have the possibility to experience the unbreakable inside ourselves and in one another, to feel our interconnectedness, to touch something larger, and to know that we belong to all that is, not as an intellectual idea, but as a lived and embodied experience. And somehow, this experience, although it does not change the conditions of our pain, it can decrease our suffering. Beyond the brokenness, there is something whole that is available right here with each breath. I want to share a poem by Roshani Rea called The Unbroken. There is a brokenness out of which comes the unbroken, a shatteredness out of which blooms the unshatterable. There's a sorrow beyond all grief which leads to joy, and a fragility out of whose depths emerges strength. There is a hollow space too vast for words through which we pass with each loss, out of what darkness we are sanctioned into being. There is a cry deeper than all sound whose serrated edges cut the heart as we break open to the place inside which is unbreakable and whole while learning to sing. Now, as someone who was not raised in the Buddhist tradition, one of the most difficult things for me to adjust to in formal Zen practice is bowing to the Buddha. Now, I'm not talking about a small gassho kind of bow, but a series of full-bodied prostrations, forehead to the earth, heart above the head, a humbling and physically arduous bow. Over the course of my first meditation retreat, I could feel my discomfort growing every time I was asked to bow. What am I bowing to? What am I bowing to? In the middle of the retreat, without me having asked my teacher, she said, "If you think you are bowing to anything but yourself, you don't get it." And I thought, you're right, I don't get it. But what I came to understand over time and with practice was that I was bowing to the Buddha nature inside myself and inside all beings. I was bowing to this possibility of waking up that's available to everyone. I was bowing to wholeness, my wholeness and your wholeness. I was bowing to the unbreakable, the absolute. So I want to invite us to attend to our brokenness. It's sacred to make space to bear witness to suffering, to allow yourself to be who you are without judgment, to allow others to see you and be with you in all of your messiness, and to accompany you like Jesus accompanies all beings. But please do not forget to attend to your wholeness. See that within your body-mind, you also have the capacity for great wisdom and compassion. Encounter the unbreakable in yourself and in every single one of us. Broken Buddhas, all of us. Blessed be. Invite you to rise in body or spirit. We're going to sing "I've Got Peace Like a River."
Like a river,
Let us go forth, accompanying ourselves and one another, attending to the brokenness and the wholeness with love and presence and solidarity. And may we remember, we are not alone. Blessed be and go forth.